You know what's just as precious, if not more precious, than a solar eclipse? Life. Life. More importantly, saving a life. And we actually have someone on or being joined by someone who actually just recently saved a life, already in a position to save people's life. From the Keego Harbor Police Department, we're being joined by Officer Robert Alonzi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Morning. How's it going?
Doing so great, sir. Thank you again for joining us. Now, we're getting a little bit into a serious matter because of the fact that not only does your job make you a hero, but what you did off duty makes you a hero. Saving a woman's life in a
Appreciate it.
restaurant who was choking. Can you just talk about this story from your perspective from beginning to end, please?
Well, my wife had been bugging me to go out to eat that night, so it was our one night to relax. And a friend of mine, Byron Turnquist, he's the fire marshal. He and I went out with him and his wife, and we had just sat down, and some lady yelled out that this woman was choking to death, and asked if anybody knew CPR. And when we got there, she had already started turning blue, and unfortunately, her grandchildren and her whole family were there to watch this. So she started passing out once we did the Heimlich maneuver. We brought her down and cleared the obstruction out of her airway, and then we did CPR and got her back to breathing again.
Oh my goodness, man, that's hard to listen to, let alone even be there and be a part of. You just describing the scene, talking about you were there with your wife and Fire Marshal Turnquist also, and just enjoying a day off, and then you go into a situation with a woman choking while she's with her family. A
Yes.
completely scary situation, something that you would probably only hear of in the movies with the fact you saved her life. What was going through your head that entire time? Were you scared at all?
No, not at all. I've done the job for 33 years, and there's not really a lot to face me. Interesting part was when I was 16 years old, my grandmother passed away in the same manner in front of me, and I really didn't know what to do. So it was kind of beneficial to me to be able to make sure that the kids didn't go through that experience.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is a hard thing to deal with. And I'm willing to bet that that probably did go into your mindset in saving that woman's life, having to deal with that situation with a
It
family
did.
member of your own. So
But the
my
coolest part of the
condolences for your
whole
loss also. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Like I said, the coolest part about the whole thing, really, she looked up at me and said, "Today was my 50th wedding anniversary." So I just said, "Happy anniversary." So that's what they're out celebrating.
That's such a beautiful thing, man. I mean, the theme of this segment right here, not all heroes wear capes. We hear that a lot, but and like we said, you're an officer for Keego Harbor Police Department. So it's literally your job to save lives and be in the community and things of that nature. But this was one of those situations where, like you said, you were off duty, enjoying time with your wife. Can you just talk about as an officer how, and I don't even know how to say this, but basically you're never off duty in a way. You always kind of have to pay attention to what's going on around you. Can you speak to that, please?
Oh, yeah, it tends to drive my wife crazy. She never truly
Hmm.
understands it. She's a kindergarten teacher, so we have two opposite ends of the spectrum. But essentially, when she understands, I never sit with my back to the door. I'm always looking. Um, I've pulled over and helped people even off duty when they're broken down and so forth.
Hmm.
I just, I would like to think that everybody would do that, and maybe the world would probably be a little bit better place if they did.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. And it's great that there's so many different things that go into this because it's also learning the Heimlich maneuver and CPR. Because
Yes.
it's one thing to be present, it's another thing to be present and know what to do. So,
Mhm.
if I'm not mistaken, this is also, is it part of your training as an officer to learn the Heimlich maneuver as well as how to perform CPR?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Every year we have to go through updated training in first aid, CPR, first responder. In the event of, God help it, if we ever have like a school shooting or something of that nature,
Hmm.
we're trained to go in if we are there first and administer first aid once we call the threat.
Yeah, and that's the type of stuff that usually, like when your job gives you training or something like that, look, you're like, okay, I got to take this required training. You don't think too much about it. You just take this
Right.
training. And then when a situation happens where you have to use that, you're like, thank goodness I actually learned that. Thank
Yeah,
goodness,
I know.
something like that.
Exactly. You sit there and go, God, do I have to take this again? But then it works.
Right, continued education. I get it. I know all about it. So you were recognized for your beautiful
Yes, sir.
performance. And real quick, just to reset the show, join us right now, Keego Harbor Police Department Officer Robert Alonzi. Join us talking about him saving a woman's life in a restaurant recently and being acknowledged for that. You received the certificate of excellence as well as a pin, a service pin.
Yes.
Also, can you just talk about how you feel about people giving you recognition and awards after doing something like this?
I hate to sound strange. I don't really like it. My wife knows I don't even like having my
Mm-hmm.
picture taken. I don't do it for accolades. It made me feel good that her grandkids didn't have to see that day.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's unfortunate that was a situation that had to happen, but I completely understand. That's why I asked you that question. How do you feel? Because like I said, it's part of your job. It's like being applauded, which you should be applauded for your work every day, but it's like literally being applauded every day
Yeah,
for
we don't
doing
always
your
hear it,
duties
but
as
thank
a
you.
as a sworn in police officer. Just real quick, looking back and reflecting on that, which I would think I know the answer to this. Is there anything that you would have done differently or reacted differently in that situation whatsoever?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
So
Good information to know. Any other information that you want to tell the community? Any updates in regards to Keego Harbor Police Department, CPR, the Heimlich maneuver? Any important information the community should know?
just, it would be beneficial if people did take this training. Even you don't have to be a first responder for it to be beneficial. It might be your husband, wife,
Mm-hmm.
mother, child. You should have some modicum of training to be able to handle the situation. And I think it could benefit anyone in any situation.
I 100% agree. Something like that, you might think it's just minor. You may think it may never even be a situation that you may need it, but it's good information to know and have anyway. Keego Harbor Police Department Officer Rob Alonzi joining us, talking about him saving a woman's life recently at a restaurant. Thank you again for your time, officer.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good day.